fists as I alight on Ellis Island and walk through the museum exhibits. We learn about earlier chapters in our anti-immigrant history, but we are meant to understand them as just that. History that is over and done with. By the time visitors get to the museum gift shop, we are encouraged to banish this ugly past from our minds and celebrate our immigrant roots instead. In true American fashion, we do this by buying something. Team Italy or Team Poland t-shirts, snow globes of the Statue of Liberty, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Ellis Cafe, however, takes different inspiration, offering menu items like the All-American Angus Cheeseburger and the Freedom Burger. Between the gift shop and the cafe, it seems that we can buy both immigrant and all-American identities that happily coexist. But I know that it is not that simple. I am struggling to figure out how these two Americas fit together. There is the United States that is known as a nation of immigrants. 3/5 of all the world's immigrants settled in the United States from the beginning of the 19th century to the beginning of the 20th. Over the course of the 20th century, the United States remained the world's largest immigrant-receiving country, and into the start of the 21st century, it still admitted more immigrants than any other country, over 1 million per year. More than 80 million have arrived in the last 200 years alone. The United States has also historically led the world in resettling refugees, bringing in 3 million since 1980. Americans celebrate this United States by referring to their nation of immigrants, a country that values immigrants and offers a haven for refugees. Even as this story has obscured a violent history of invasion, native dispossession, and slavery, defining the United States as a nation of immigrants continues to be a popular way of reaffirming America's acceptance of racial and ethnic diversity. This is the America that my grandparents, immigrants from China, knew and loved. They braved long trans-Pacific journeys and worked long hours as domestic servants in Chinese restaurants and in laundries, so that their children and grandchildren could have a chance to claim the promised American dream. But the United States is also a nation of xenophobia. Even as it has welcomed millions from around the world, it has also deported more immigrants than any other nation, over 55 million since 1882. Americans have been wary of almost every group of foreigners that has come to the United States. German immigrants in the 18th century, Irish and Chinese in the 19th century, Italians, Jews, Japanese, and Mexicans in the 20th century, and Muslims today. Americans have labeled immigrants threatening because they were poor, practiced a different faith, were non-white. They have argued that immigrants were too numerous, were not assimilating, were taking jobs away from deserving Americans, were bringing crime and disease into the country, had dangerous political ideals, were un-American, or even hated America. The United States has passed discriminatory immigration laws and detained, incarcerated, and expelled immigrants. It has exploited and segregated the foreign-born, allowing them to be in America, but not accepted as fully American. This is also the America that my grandparents knew well. They managed to enter the country when the Chinese Exclusion Act, which was enacted in 1882 and lasted until 1943, barred most Chinese from the United States. One of my grandfathers came in with false papers and was detained in the prison-like barracks of the Angel Island Immigration Station in San Francisco. Today, some people would call him an undocumented immigrant who courageously risked all to come to the United States, despite unfair immigration laws. Others would term him an illegal alien who broke the law, challenged our border security, and thus deserved detention or worse. The exclusion laws also forced many families to live apart from each other, including my grandmother's family, who were separated for 3 generations. Our story is not unique. Immigrant families remain separated from each other by harsh laws, and an estimated 11 million immigrants, like my grandfather, have either no documentation or the wrong kind of documentation. They live their lives in the shadows, ever fearful of sudden deportation. The books that